Good morning, everyone. My name is Kelsey Fraley, and today I'm going to talk to you about pharmaceutical sales representatives. So a pharmaceutical sales representative is somebody who travels locally. They can even be nationally and internationally, and they're meeting with doctors at hospitals, clinics, pharmacies, and they are trying to sell a prescription drug to these companies. And they will explain, the benefits of that drug and the treatment plan, and in hopes for that company to buy that product from them, and then that pharmaceutical company will grow. So to become a pharmaceutical sales representative, you do have to have a 4-year college degree. So you have to have your bachelor's, but unlike many other careers, you can choose whatever you want your degree into. So they're not very specific as to what you have to have it into, but it is smart to get a degree in something like business or professional sales, health and wellness. Stuff like that can really help and give you the knowledge that you do need for this career. You also need to be great at negotiating. You are constantly doing that whenever you are meeting with these doctors and at these hospitals. You need to be a great communicator. You need to have great work ethic. You need to be tech savvy and also a fast learner. So Cyanos Health is one that I did a specific research on because it was the one that the professional that I interviewed worked for. So Cyanos Health is pretty spectacular. They have catered to 110 countries all around the world, which is amazing. They have 133 brand launches, and they have 160 disease categories that they have medicines that they sell. They are also have won over 1,000 awards, which is spectacular. So Angie Myatt, she worked for Cyanos Health. She's worked there for the last 4 years as a sales representative. She usually travels to the Mayo Clinic and the Johns Hopkins, talking to doctors and local nurses there. And she works on the oncology division, so she only sells products that obtain to patients with cancer and stuff like that. So Angie started in a small town called Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which is extremely far from Oklahoma. She graduated from Washington High School, and then she went on to Augustana University. Her first job was a local bank teller, and she worked at this job from her senior year of high school all the way through college. She met the love of her life, Ryan, when she was in college, and they are still married to this day. And that is important because the reason why she moved to Oklahoma is because Ryan got a job in Oklahoma, and so they picked up everything and moved here, and it ended up being such a blessing for both of them. The reason why Angie wanted to become a pharmaceutical sales representative is because her grandfather was one, and she saw the life that he created for her grandma and for her mom growing up, and she really wanted to be able to provide well for her family. So Angie worked, whenever she moved here, she got a job at Pfizer, and she worked there for 18 months. Unfortunately, she was laid off after a short 18 months, and she was looking for a job for 6 months after that. But again, it was a blessing because she found Cyanos Health, and she's been working there for 4 years. And it was kind of cool to point out that Angie's first job, she made $7.25 an hour, and her job now, she makes over $40 an hour. So it's really amazing. So some of the main challenges of pharmaceutical sales, I would say number one is it's extremely competitive. You're constantly competing with your colleagues. You're constantly competing with other local pharmaceutical sales companies. And the reason why you're competing is because there are huge bonuses that you can obtain. You can get rewards, your company gets rewards, free trips and stuff like that, and you want your company to be number one. So this diagram right here, I found it from statistics.com. It shows that Pfizer, which I mentioned earlier, is the number one pharmaceutical sales company. You've probably heard of it before. But I found that was pretty interesting. Last year, they sold $45 billion of pharmaceutical sales, which is insane. So the starting pharmaceutical sales salary is $62,000. That is without any experience. And then after that, you can get up to a $19,000 bonus in your first year. So that's a pretty good lump sum whenever you just graduate college. You're on that budget, and every single year that you're there, your salary grows, and the more experience you have, the more money you're able to make. And I found that statistic at Weebly.com. So some pros and cons of pharmaceutical sales. A pro is that it has extremely flexible hours, great pay. You get to travel, you get to see the nation, you get to see states that you might not have seen otherwise. You get to meet some of the most amazing healthcare professionals, and everybody around you is extremely motivated, just as you are. And I think that's super important to put, because there's many careers where you're there and you're the only motivated person, but every single person that you're working with is as competitive as you are and is as motivated as you are. So some cons is going to be, if you do have a family and you're traveling, that can be a con because you're missing, your kids' games, or you're missing your family and your husband. And then sometimes flexible hours can be an issue too, because whenever you're traveling, you're going to be gone all through the day, all through the night as well. And maybe you have to catch a plane at 10 o'clock at night, you never know. But I thought it was important to say that Angie thought that the most rewarding part of her job was getting to meet with the patients that she had sold products to that hospital, and actually getting to see the positive results of all of those medicines that she sold. So that is just amazing. But that is all I have for you about pharmaceutical sales. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks.